Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I am Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us. Hey, for those of you who've been geeking out on the channel for a while now, you know that occasionally we're lucky enough to get real-life examples and allow us to armchair quarterback them to see whether or not the people involved really truly applied the correct legal standards. Now, we did that with Mr. Hero Delivery Driver Guy, and we got several videos out of him. And we also recently did it about one of my neighbors, Adam, who tried to stop a catalytic converter theft. Well, today we're going to get the rare opportunity to watch a person have to defend himself not once, not twice, but 3 separate times from would-be robberies. So today we'll spend a few minutes talking about Seattle man stops 3 robberies, a legal replay. Okay, before we get rolling, you guys know the drill. If you like this video, go ahead and click that like button. If you want to stay up to date on issues related to your Second Amendment rights, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Click the little bell logo if you want to be notified when we post new videos. Most importantly, let's keep the comments and discussions coming, making sure that we're getting our videos out to more lawful and responsible gun owners like yourself. Okay, our video today comes from the good folks at Active Self-Protection, John Correa. I'm going to put a link for their YouTube page down below. Now, I think the guys over at Active Self-Protection, John Correa in particular, have been doing some outstanding work here for a number of years, educating you, the lawful and responsible gun owner, about tactical decisions that need to be made when we are encountering lawful self-defense situations. So I encourage all of my viewers to subscribe to Active Self-Protection and carefully monitor what they do, because the material that's coming out from them is fantastic. Now, the thing about what Mr. Correa and the folks over at Active Self-Protection do is that they talk about the tactical side of things. What can people do from a tactical standpoint that can improve their chances? What did they do that was right? What did they do that was wrong? And I don't have the type of credentials behind my name to talk about the tactical stuff. But what I can talk to you about today, and what I do want to talk to you about today, is I want to take a look. I kind of want to armchair quarterback all 3 of these incidents. And I want to talk to you guys about whether or not this gentleman applied the correct legal standards and what, if any, kind of trouble he could conceivably be in for his actions. Now, before we get into these videos, let's all agree on a baseline set of rules so that we can all properly analyze this. We know under RCW 9A.16.020, subsection 3, that we can use any reasonable force necessary to defend ourselves, people in our presence, or our property. We know under RCW 9A.16.020 subsection 3, as well as a litany of case law, that all force that we use must be necessary, must be reasonable, and must be proportional. That is, the force that we use in defending ourselves has to be proportional to the force that we are trying to repel. If we exceed the scope of the lawful amount of force that we are allowed to use, we are no longer acting in self-defense. We are now committing an assault and subjecting ourselves to criminal liability. We also know under RCW 9A.16.050 that we have the right to use lethal force if we are in imminent threat of death or serious bodily injury, if somebody in our presence is in imminent threat of death or serious bodily injury, or if a felony is being committed upon our person or inside our abode. Okay, let's go ahead and just start with the first issue. Now, this is going to take a minute to play the video, and there is some audio here, and I'm going to cut a couple pieces out just to kind of shorten it up a little bit, but you guys are going to see what happens here. Let's roll the tape.
Hi everyone, welcome to today's lesson here at Active Self-Protection. I'm your host, John Correa. Today's video comes to us from Seattle, Washington. In our first incident here, these guys are backing up a truck because they see that he has motorcycles in his carport. We do have audio on the surveillance cameras. Let's listen in. Put it down! Put it down!
Okay, so what do we have here? Well, we have several crimes being committed against this gentleman. The first crime is the crime of burglary. There is an unlawful entry onto property with the intent to commit a crime therein. The crime is, of course, theft of the motorcycle. We also have a felony theft. In Washington State, if we steal something that's valued at anything more than $1,500, that automatically is a felony theft. Now, I'm no motorcycle expert. I'm just going to assume that the value of this motorcycle is worth more than $1,500. Otherwise, they picked the wrong bike to be stealing. So there is no doubt in our mind that this gentleman is entitled to use reasonable force to defend his property. What he does in this situation, as we can see here as we watch it again, is he comes out and he does display a firearm. He does display a firearm, and arguably at one point he even, as you can see right here, he arguably points it at one of the perpetrators. But as soon as they begin to flee, they drop the bike, they get in the truck. One of them hightails it out of there on feet. The other one gets back in the truck and drives off. You can see that our would-be victim here now lowers the firearm. Again, he still has it displayed at low ready, but he is no longer pointing it at any individual. When we take a look at this and we take a look at the standards that we set under 9A.16.020 subsection 3, we take a look at unlawful display of a firearm under 941.270. When we take a look at aiming or pointing a firearm at another person under 941.230, it is my opinion that in this particular case, this gentleman acted completely within lawful authority. He displayed a weapon. He was outnumbered 2-1. He did not know if these people were armed themselves. They were clearly committing a crime on his property. They were actually committing multiple crimes on his property. He had every right to use reasonable force to defend his property. He had every right to lawfully display a weapon. His use of force was incredibly effective. They immediately took off. No one got injured. Property was not stolen. This is a very good application of the law. Now, let's take a look at the second incident. Now, this is a little different. They're not trying to steal the motorcycle. Instead, here, he is the victim of a would-be catalytic converter theft. And yes, we have done a couple of videos on that. One about, in general, how much force can you use? And the other one about my good friend Adam, who had a little run-in in our neighborhood over a catalytic converter theft. And I'll post the links for those videos down below. But let's watch what happens in this situation.
Yeah! What are you doing?
Okay, so I like part of what I'm seeing here. I think that as he comes out and for whatever reason he's decided not to arm himself with a firearm, instead he's armed himself with a baseball bat. That is perfectly okay unless, of course, one of the other assailants has a gun and now you are, in fact, out-armed. But in this situation, the minute he displays himself, the minute he starts running at him, the minute he starts making noise, as you can see from the video, everybody starts retreating. And at the point that he now starts taking whacks at the car, which I get the frustration, I really do. And God only knows how many other times this guy has been victimized by this kind of stuff. So I get the frustration, I get the anger. But at this point, what we're doing is the threat is now over. The catalytic converter is not going to be stolen. The individuals are clearly showing a strong desire to get off the property right away. And so what he is inflicting here is a little bit of vigilante justice, which may be outside and likely is outside the scope of his lawful authority. Now, here's the other dangerous part here, and I get the desire to inflict some type of retribution. I get the emotional need, but I'm talking today about your legal rights. When we start smashing windows out with a baseball bat, things can get sideways in a hurry. The bat could strike a person inside the car. Worse yet, glass goes flying around. You get a piece of glass in somebody's eye, they lose that eye or something like that. Yeah, you're going to have prosecutors and police investigating this use of force. So, in summary, I like most of what you did here up until we get to the part where we're smashing out the windows. I get the strong desire to do so. I don't really think you have the legal authority to do that. Now, let's take a look at the third incident. Now, this is back to the motorcycles, and at this point, our would-be victim is so fed up with all of this garbage happening in his neighborhood that he's actually cemented in a pole in his carport and bolted his bike to the cement pole. So these would-be thieves are having a really difficult time trying to move this bike. Watch what happens. Okay, so once again, I love the racking of the firearm. That will definitely put everybody on notice that you mean business. And again, I don't think there's anything unlawful about the display of a weapon here. Yes, it's meant to threaten or intimidate. It's meant to threaten, intimidate, and to stop two would-be thieves who are robbing you of your very expensive property. So at this point, the yelling, the making the noise, the display of the firearm, all of that is perfectly lawful. But now here's the problem. Again, as you can see, the minute we confront him, there is an immediate show of, I'm leaving. I'm getting out of here. I don't want anything to do with it. There's immediate retreat. What this gentleman does, and again, this is a little bit like the catalytic converter theft. I get the desire, the emotional need to inflict some kind of punishment on these people. But here's what we do. We're smashing out windows again. We're smashing out windows with individuals in there. So we have all the same risk as we did on the last video. Here we're also smashing out, as you can see, we're smashing out the windows with the firearm itself. And I can't really tell by this video where the trigger finger is, but God forbid if it's on the firearm itself and we're using the firearm as a blunt object to smash windows out, we all can realize the problems that can occur. There's also another instance in here, I don't like this, where the driver who's actually slid over from the passenger seat is screaming, I didn't do anything, I'm getting out of here. And he arguably does point the firearm at her, and I think that that may be without lawful authority as well. So what's the bottom line here? The bottom line is this guy needs to find a new place to live. And yeah, he needs to get out of the city of Seattle. It also goes to show what the byproduct is of a political movement afoot within King County to defund and demoralize our police department. Because when we under-police our communities, when we refuse to police our communities, when we refuse to hold those that are committing crimes accountable, then matters have to be taken into their own hands by the citizens of the state of Washington, many of which unfortunately do not tune into this channel to learn their legal rights and obligations. So, whoever you may be, after you find a nice, clean, new place to live in a community that perhaps takes pride in its community and starts policing its neighborhood, I do like some of what I saw, but some of it I think may have crossed the line. The good news for you is all of this occurred in Seattle. And I can assure you that if you can't get a police officer to come to your place for would-be burglars and robbers actually taking place, the thieves are not going to get a police officer to take a report for them. You can imagine the phone call of, yeah, I was trying to steal some guy's motorcycle. I was in his carport just doing my thing. He comes out and points a gun at me. I need you to go arrest this guy. That call is likely not going to occur. And unfortunately, in the current state of things, even if that call came in, the resources are not there in Seattle to assist on stuff like that. Again, I want to thank the guys at Active Self-Protection. I thought they did a great job of breaking down this video, as I think they break down all videos. I think they do a really good job. Again, I'm going to put a link for their YouTube page down below. I encourage all of you to subscribe to it. Listen, you may have more questions about this stuff or anything else related to your right of self-defense. And if you do, don't ever hesitate to contact us at WashingtonGunLaw.com. Or, of course, you can call us directly at 425-765-0487. Now, let's remember, part of being the lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here at Washington Gun Law, is to know what the law is in every situation and how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching. Stay safe.